Well, it is a wonderful day outside, and I found somebody. She missed the homecoming parade last year, but now she gets to go to her first one, and here she is. Can you tell everyone who you are? Although most people want the IRS off their backs, the IRS.gov site actually provides a lot of valuable information on what credits or deductions you could qualify for. So, for example, if you want to know whether or not you qualify for the first-time homebuyer credit, you can just type it in on the search bar, search, and click on first-time homebuyer credit, and the website will tell you all you need to know about whether or not you qualify. After the rally, the group took it to the streets to spread the message. The soil they use is part sand, part peanut shell, part composted cow manure, which they say is all natural and a lot better to use than synthetic fertilizers. The Gators, I like your answer, man. Gator Chomp, there we go. Gator Chomp. Well, only a few people in the entire world get the opportunity to participate in any of the Olympics. But a group of kids and teachers in our community decided, you know what? We'll host one of our own. In this fully decorated room, Matthew Houlihan spends much of his time. He likes the song Blackbird, performed by the Beatles on their White Album. But sometimes he'd rather listen to the Beatles perform the song and not him. So he'll put the song on, not on his computer, not from a CD, but on his record player. He knows his generation didn't grow up with vinyl, but he likes it anyway.
What attracts me to vinyl is the actual, there's an actual sound. Once you've listened to it enough, I think it sounds better, you know? I mean, I can play I can play a CD of the same thing I just played on vinyl, and it sounds good, but it doesn't sound as warm, you know?
He started collecting vinyl about 2 years ago. Since then, he's amassed a collection of over 200 vinyl records, dating back from the 40s, some as recently as 2008.
What's cool is a lot of bands these days, they're enthusiasts of vinyl too, so they'll put their stuff out on vinyl, Radiohead being one of them. This is their latest album from 2008. You can hear this in rainbows on an old-time player. It's kind of cool.
Although a big vinyl lover, he knows records have their downsides.
One of the disadvantages to owning vinyls is that if they're old or not taken care of very well, you start to hear those pops in the music that should not be there.
But Matt isn't too worried about that. Neither are some vinyl enthusiasts working at Here Again in downtown Gainesville. Robert Velasquez says he owns dozens of vinyl albums and doesn't think they're going anywhere anytime soon.
It's not just your dad's like old Dylan records or Led Zeppelin records. Now it's like the Flaming Lips. Now it's new artists putting out everything pretty much every week, every month.
His manager feels the same way. Andrew Scher has owned the music store for 4 years. A vinyl lover himself, he says many companies are now allowing customers to download the songs off the albums they purchase.
So you're really getting 2 copies of the album when you buy the LP.
He's confident vinyl is making a comeback, but even if not, he still thinks it's the best musical sound you can get right now. And as for Matt, he may not be able to tell you exactly why the sound of a record is better than a CD or digital download, but he insists he knows. Marco Lamano, WUFT News.
WUFT's Marco Lamano joins us with that story.
Well, supporters of the bill say change is needed, but educators say not these kinds of changes. Teachers' union staged a rally in Gainesville late yesterday afternoon to express opposition to 2 bills they call fundamentally flawed. They say if passed, the bills will scare people away from teaching in Florida.
What they're doing in Tallahassee to the children of Florida is just not right!
2 bills working their way through the Florida legislature have angered many teachers.
He's screwing all the teachers that are working so hard.
And they won't take it sitting down.
These politicians do not respect education.
Members of teachers' unions like the United Faculty of Florida and the Alachua County Teachers Association rallied in front of the Kirby Smith Center yesterday to protest the 2 bills. Supporters of one measure, Senate Bill 6, say it aims to create end-of-course assessments to track students' improvements over the years and give big rewards for teachers who bring improvement to low-performing schools. but educators say basing pay on test scores is not a fair way to go.
Because I'm a first-year teacher, I teach all regular classes, okay? And most of my other teachers in my same department teach higher level classes. So it's hard to compare our test grades because they're teaching a different set of kids than I'm teaching.
After the rally, the group took it to the streets to spread the message. Another bill working its way through the House will impact retirement benefits. Linda Harris, a fourth-grade teacher at Duval Elementary, thinks these changes will punish teachers. She says the Florida state government isn't giving enough support to people like her.
Sometimes it comes out of our own pockets to help our kids.
The educators warn they'll stay active and hold state lawmakers accountable at the ballot box.
We do have the right to vote them out of office.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
By a narrow margin of 21 to 17, Senate Bill 6 cleared the full Senate last week and is now in the House. The other bill the teachers object to has yet to clear its House committee.
The bill is passed.
While the U.S. Congress debates the federal budget, one item has been a noticeable target: the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Louis Calavota is on the Joint Advisory Board for WUFT and NPR in Gainesville. He's been with public broadcasting for 25 years. He said he's loved his time in it and is a huge supporter of federal funding for public broadcasting because of what he says is its very high-quality programming.
The programming here is very much interesting, enlightening, and entertaining. It's educational, and it's unlike anything else that you're going to see coming over the radio or the TV.
The debate over whether or not to fund public broadcasting isn't a new one. Former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich led the charge to defund it during the Clinton presidency. Even as far back as the late 60s, Fred Rogers, who hosted Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, passionately argued for a $20 million grant from the government. Here he recites the lyrics to one of the songs on his program, "What Do You Do with the Mad That You Feel?"
That helps us become what we can. For a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
I think it's wonderful. Looks like you just earned the $20 million.
One of the main arguments to defunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is the need to balance the federal budget. So we went ahead and looked at the upcoming budget for 2012 on whitehouse.gov to see how much American taxpayers would save if we went ahead and defunded the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Under the current White House proposal, entitlement and defense spending alone account for 60% of the federal budget. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting gets less than 1% of federal government spending.
The United States Constitution says that one of the primary functions of the federal government is defense, securing our borders. The Constitution doesn't say that one of the primary functions for government is funding a television station.
With an unprecedented $1 trillion deficit for 2010, he believes it's time for both the federal and state and local governments scrambling for money to start making cuts to balance their budgets. Stafford Jones also says PBS and NPR can find innovative ways to become self-sufficient, with shows like Sesame Street making so much off merchandising. However, Larry Dankner, the director of operations for the Division of Multimedia Properties, says that's not quite the case.
Those corporations that provide some of those programs, they're selling that programming to PBS. Then it's not owned by PBS.